Good morning and welcome to today's live show. Are you ready to rumble? Are we ready to get into some stock market analysis today? Are we ready to see what's going on? Seeing some kind of bounce in the market right now. We got to see if that's able to turn up some 2-hour charts. We'll really pay attention to that. Something to pay attention to was Nvidia, actually. I think we read into this a little bit here. The 2-hour able to cross up, seeing some upside here. We'll see if that potential keeps going. For now, we just noticed that the SPY and the Qs, they're both seeing some bouncing. So we'll pay attention to what's going on throughout the day today. Going to have 2 streams. That's right, we're going to have an opening stream here today, and we're going to have a stream later today for the close. So make sure to be subscribed. Make sure that you have those notifications on and join us back here so we can look at some areas to pay attention to. As you can see right now, we are gapping up in the pre-market, heading up towards 530.29 to the upside. Okay, that would be our daily expected move. It would make total sense to get there, and we'll see what happens from there. Are we able to really turn up these 2-hour charts, or are we still going to see the 30-minute be able to give this away and really go create that stronger base? We'll look into that as it develops. Obviously, when you get more price action, more can be said. So that's why joining the live videos is such a good thing, because you can actually see what's happening in real time, which is very nice. So originally still looking for if we need to go make that stronger base, but we'll see if 2 hours start to curl up. That might be it. For now, we might be experiencing a bigger bounce, so we'll pay attention to that going forward. As you know, we have the courses now at 90% off if you want to trade around these weekly expected moves, monthly expected moves, daily expected moves, and learn about these indicators down here, learn how to do some good trade setups, learn about divergences. You're going to come out of that course as a whole new trader. So for $100 down there in the description, the technical analysis course is there. If you want swing trading, hey, that's perfectly fine. If you just need to know exactly how to swing trade, that's fine. We talk about that in the swing trading course as well. So thank you guys for joining this morning. Really appreciate it. I had fun at my concert last night. Seemed like the audio tech there was not the best. It was a little bit like muffled and stuff half the time, but for the most part, still a great concert. It was a lot of fun. Weirdly enough, our neighbors, we live in a townhome pretty much, and our neighbors actually had a fire last night right when we left for the concert. So we had Abuelo watching Baby Girl, and there were firefighters, there was beating on the door, there were dogs barking, there were fires, and we were just like, oh my gosh, the one night we leave, something has to happen, right? But that's okay, everyone seems fine. What the heck just happened? It does, Matthew. I think it does. Disney's up? Oh god, what's Disney been up to? Oh, and oops, I have the camera on for you guys. Look at this. There you go. I don't think my headphones are going to connect today. No headphones today. Ah. Alrighty, so now we're actually, Disney. You said Disney's going, that was coming. Disney is up. Disney is down right now, is from what I see, down 2%. Now, one thing that I thought was very interesting, I saw a lot of people posting about SMCI. I want to do this. I want to see if it shows. Yeah, here it is. Okay, so SMCI originally with the earnings went all the way up to 732, our little sell zone, and then sold all the way back down to 528. I think that is some crazy behavior. If I was someone trading this today, I'd be frustrated with that, but that's what ends up happening around earnings. Earnings are kind of crazy. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Now, one thing I was spotting about volatility down here was the fact that the 2 hours by the center line, right? 2 hours down here by the center line. So if that curls up, hey, some negative things can happen. The 30-minute is what I'm paying attention to. It does have a small rejection divergence right here. So that's just something to pay attention to. We'll see if that can gain some steam, see if that 2 hours is able to curl up. That could mean more volatility. But for now, we'd have to say upside looks like a pretty good potential here. As long as we're actually curling up 2-hour charts, right? If we can actually curl these up, we don't give it away right away in the morning or something like that. That's what I'll kind of be paying attention to this morning. And then tomorrow we do get jobless claims data, so I'm very intrigued of what's going to happen there. End phase. Yeah. All right, end phase, seeing that upside, so pretty much this is just 2 hour curling up. Do we have divergences or something like that? You did. You had some steep divergence right here telling you some kind of price action to the upside could happen, some kind of positive trend could take place. So paying attention to the signals closely right in here, boom, that says, hey, I have potential upside. That's all this told you. It says you're getting a 2-hour bounce, and that's what you're getting. So 2-hour curls up, you can see some positivity for a bit, and then see if that 30-minute or an hourly or something like that rolls over to say, hey, maybe this is going to go create a stronger base as well. If that's just going to keep going up and up and up and up like this, okay, awesome. 2-hour just keeps going up and up and up. That's perfectly fine. But the 30-minute signal in here was the interesting part. Yield seeing a little bit of a raise up. Let's click through a couple of these. Apple, a little bit to the upside. Tesla, that's the one I got out of, and it's not really seeing some crazy upside, so I'm fine with that for now. Amazon getting more of a bounce. Nvidia, and this is the 2-hour divergence we're talking about. We got to see if that can see some strength. And we'll look at SAVA in just one moment. AMD, we'll see about this one as well. If that can turn back to positive, that might be a good sign. Meta, this one's more of a struggle in my book. I think this one's more of a struggle right now, but doesn't mean you can't continue up. Obviously, a stock can do anything at any time, but I would really pay attention if these things start to curl over on 30-minute MACDs, even with this upside. Now, it is good that you're reacting up to key levels for a lot of these stocks, right? It's good to react to those levels. Let's see if the SPY and the Qs are actually reacting to those levels. So if you can come all the way up to here, that would be better. Maybe you just reach down for a higher low. But at this point, that's something I'm paying attention to. Just seeing if this can actually hold throughout the day and test key levels, or if it's just going to flush early on. We'll find out. As far as it goes for SAVA, let's go look at that real quick this morning. As we can see for SAVA, a lot of people interested in this. All we know is 30-minute pullback, right? If you're going to go up, it like really dramatically, and you know, I believe we talked about this stock right around here as it was starting to cross. We said as it crosses, you need to say, hey, that could be bad, but it is in positive territory. So if that does curl back up, then you can see more positivity. Have you seen that curl up yet? No, we haven't. So we haven't even really gotten a firm closing above all the moving averages on the 30 minutes. Sometimes I like that to happen because it is a smaller time frame. So I need some good indication that you're going to see a good move fast if I'm just going to take a 30-minute trade. And that's pretty much going to be a day trade if you do a 30-minute swing trade, which I don't do. But you would still say 30-minute curls up, positive things happen. Watch out for a divergence at the top, maybe towards earnings. And then for the 2-hour, that thing's crossed over. So as of right now, you do have some probabilities to say any kind of bounce you do get here, most likely you do end up, you know, pulling back on that 2-hour. But maybe earnings kind of throws that for a loop. Remember, that's a 50-50 flip. Yeah, SMCI went from, what, 650 or something to 720 down to 550 or something. So that's just a wild, wild day. That's a wild earnings, man. And I bet options people are just frustrated because all that happened in the post-market or pre-market. A lot of green, a lot of green, a lot of green. Futures 2-hour still looking pretty flat, to be honest. So if this rolls down on the 2-hour, that would be the futures as well telling you, but mainly we're just looking at the SPY 30-minute. All right, we'll see how this opens up. We got about 3 minutes till the open. Shout it out. Everyone say good luck in the chat. Everyone say good luck, everyone out there. Make sure, spread the love, spread some luck. We need some luck today. This market's going to rip us around a little bit. Hey, we might need some luck. But as long as we pay attention to our signals, maybe our luck will be a little bit better. Am I right? I think so. Ignore the Disney mug. My wife bought it years ago. Greetings, good people. Good luck. I can't wait to see it either. I wonder if it like I wonder if it'll switch to the call side at any point. Might close lower, I hope. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Once we see this curl over, then you could say, okay, that hope's becoming reality. But if this never crosses over, we start to see a 2-hour curl up, it would more mean all hope is lost for that for a little bit. Until we see if this can see a more dramatic pop, and then we'll see what happens from there to see if we need to make that strong base on the 2-hour. Let's see if I can find a... Where's that one dip? Let's see if we can find like an example here. Yeah, so even something like this could start to happen where it's kind of prolonged for some time, but this little thing here is kind of what I'm looking for. You see how this has two low points, and we have the divergence to the upside. We have the divergence on the RSI down there at the same time. That led to a sturdy bounce. Then that failed with another divergence at the top. That's what we're more paying attention to here. I'm seeing, because this was a pretty far dip down, even if we do get some kind of rip here, we can still go create over time. That's that stronger base. And then that's where we'll pay attention to for a bigger bounce. But things can recover, so the other thing to keep in mind is the daily swing trade. The other thing to keep in mind, we have to think of multiple scenarios. We have to think of bullish and bearish cases, right? That's what we do on this channel. This right here, the daily scale, if this starts to turn up and we see these daily swing trade signals confirm, we have to say that the most probable move is upside and maybe even an all-time high. Fed buying T-bonds, August, September, October market should run hard in September as I see it. Try to get Kamala elected. Thoughts? Yeah, I believe that's probably what's going to go on here, especially if they're buying the T-bills. But that could be just so things don't 100% collapse right now. But by making them not 100% collapse right now, maybe that energy is going to be released in the opposite direction, kind of like a trade, right? So it'd be like if I see, I don't know, divergence or something like that. Right, we see these type of behaviors, and that needs to be, say, distributed down. Well, then you get good earnings. All of that momentum can be distributed up. So you would say if we're supposed to fall right now because of what's going on with, you know, the yields and everything like that, the yen, everything like that, recession scares, everything, then that energy, if someone just says, no, we're going to pump it so it stays good, well, then that energy can be distributed the other way, right? It's pretty much like you have a savior, so that energy has to be distributed the other way. So that could happen. But for now, we just want to see this 30-minute is nowhere far away. It's not far at all from crossing over. We just have to pay attention. Like I said in last night's video, maybe we just need some more price action. This is what I see as the most likely thing to happen as of right now. This looks like the most likely thing. The 2-hour curls up. Hey, we have something different to say. All right, so if this bar is strong, we don't give it up by the end of the day, that's when I'll actually be saying, okay, now we might be actually seeing a bigger bounce overall. But until this confirms in about 2 hours, I'm not going to say we're bouncing. And 2, we have a daily expected move there. So we'd have to kind of hover there for a while, consolidate there for a while, something like that. As far as right now, 1.2% gap up, that's pretty good. Daniel's ready to look at some stocks this morning. Wanted to look at some Nvidia. Nvidia, solid move. So I can't complain about Nvidia at all. Solid move there. 2-hour crossed up. Now we're seeing that turn into a little bit of a chance to go positive. That's what I would say. This has a chance to go positive, but it's still got some work to do. On the daily scale, this is where we want to pay attention if things start to curl up on this MACD. If we start to get above that center line, it looks pretty good from the swing trade perspective. It also looked good with the 2-hour signals down here. So that is something to really pay attention to. Because if this starts to go positive, right when that goes positive, okay, now you're probably seeing that daily cross up. And whoa, short Fridays. Thank you for the $20. Really appreciate it. Saying, hey, come on, guys, support the channel. And I appreciate that. You guys know, never have to support the channel with financial means. You can always just like the video. Liking the video really helps out the channel. If you feel like giving money, I really do appreciate it. My family appreciates it. My daughter appreciates it. But overall, just liking the video is a great way to support the channel. But thank you, Short Fridays, for donating $20. I really, really appreciate that. Nice orange thing up there for you. Everyone should go like it. How do we like it? Can I like it? I can't like it. Supporting the channel. There you go. Yeah. Short Fire's like, I'm single-handedly supporting this channel. No, I hope that the information's helpful. I really do. That's the main goal here. Now, as we look at things like Apple, things like even Tesla, we need to see if those 2 hours are curling up. Amazon, see if those 2 hours are curling up. Nvidia, see if that 2 hours curling up. It already is. AMD trying to reject and turn up again. Meta turning up. Maybe some reversal going on here, actually. Let me look at this from a 30-minute perspective. Starting to get to overbought territory, but still looks pretty good, right? So maybe the bigger time frames are taking over. And thank you again, Short Fridays, for that donation. As you can see, Microsoft starting to curl up on 2-hour MACD. So these are saying, hey, we're rejecting the complete downside. Seems like we're just going to head up from this area. One thing I want to see here. is last night. Okay, so last night we didn't really go dip down to find people. Usually if you see some good upward price action in a lot of stocks, which I guess, you know, the SPX 500 here did see some positivity. A lot of the time you will see like some kind of more of a dip down and then get that buying to come in. This didn't really dip down, so we're still at an area where we could see rollovers for this 2 hour in the futures, which if we're looking at it during the day, we want to look at a 30-minute chart. This 30-minute crosses at any time, we can see some bad things. So just got to be aware of that, be aware of the 2 hours that are crossing up, and then make sure those things are confirming. AMC starting to break down a little bit here. So AMC is able to cross on this MACD. That won't be a good sign because you can go negative. Now you do have some probabilities of making a higher low, but if it wanted to, if they're really going to fight this stock and continue to do so, hey, you can push that all the way back down to 437. That kind of worked last time. CAVA, you're kind of in a situation where actually this is a better look because you came above this level. Now you can try to maybe use that as support, right? We're dipping down into it for a second and rejecting. But if that wants to curl down, I would look for that to get that higher low. I would look for that to maybe test in these little areas here. But for the most part, you just want to see, hey, is this the best time to get in? Hey, it still says there is positivity to be had. There can be some upside. So we'll look at some higher time frames. But you just want to be aware if that 30-minute crosses over, you are in pullback mode at that point for CAVA. The 2 hour, though, was able to cross up. You're seeing a bunch of divergences down here. So it all looks pretty good right here. Boom, we come back down. We get the higher low, and boom, we head to the upside. So at this point, if you can break above this level, you might be taking this back. We might be seeing dailies turn up. We've already seen that. So the daily swing trade looks like what's going on right here. This bar right here is pretty much the daily swing trade. Now you're seeing that positivity. We'll see if that lasts, okay? We'll see if that lasts. Make sure to manage your trades out there. SMCI. Dang, that's crazy. GameStop, are you turning over on a 30-minute chart? Let's go see down here. Looks like it might, and maybe we get a double dip down to 1875. That would be interesting. What did Bitcoin do last night? Did Bitcoin keep going up on this 4 hour? It did. Okay, so Bitcoin going up on this 4 hour, 2 hours, what we're looking at here. See if that's able to rotate back down. You see that curvature just means like, hey, we're not seeing that big move up into positive territory, really. We're kind of curving. And so we need to see more positivity. We need to see kind of like a breakout move. This is kind of gradual stair stepping that if you just cross on this MACD, you can still go make that divergence. You can also just test the top of our zone to make that higher low. But overall, Bitcoin curling up on stuff is not a bad thing. I just would like to see some kind of reassurance that this is going to be a strong move by just pulling back slightly and then going back to the upside. I think that would be a good sign. Let's look at this on the daily scale. You see how that's far away, so a little pullback can go a long way. It can eat up some time and then see that turn back up, and then guess what? This might actually be crossing around this area as that 9 starts to catch up and even out. Bear flag at 60K, then roll over. That could happen. For the most part, we're just seeing that the 2 hour is very deep negative, trying to go positive, see if that rolls over, as well as the 4 hour, pretty damn negative. So you're probably going to need a stronger base than this. I mean, you can V-shape. That can happen if there's some very positive reaction, right? But for the most part, we want to take things how they look right now and say that MACD is really low. So if I'm in some kind of swing trade with this or something, I'd be going, ooh, this is a little bit of a weak move, actually. Not necessarily the strongest. You see some selling bars within it. So we'll pay attention to it. You're still negative. So it doesn't mean, hey, I have to get out of anything. I just want to be aware if I start to cross down through these moving averages. Let's go back over, look at the SPY as that reaches up towards the daily expected move in the first 5 minutes. In the first 5 minutes, we're hitting a daily expected move, and we'll see how the PCC comes out. We'll see how many people actually go to the put or call side. Now, there is one thing to take into consideration here. If this 2 hour is going to curl up and hold, we could see something crazy, all right? You could see that squeeze begin. So don't be afraid to say, hey, this thing can see something crazy. But as we do hit this area, we still have that 68% chance to land down from this area. So we'll pay attention to it. If this 30-minute crosses over, most likely you are going to cut through this, test a weekly, test a daily, or maybe even head a little bit lower. We'll find out. VIX is lower than yesterday's low. We have some kind of divergence down here that's kind of giving up as of right now, so we'll pay attention to that. But for now, this is what you want to see if you're going to see that overall squeeze. Remember, we need that daily to fully cross over. If that daily crosses over, most likely we are going to see some kind of squeeze. Now, is that squeeze, you know, if we cross over, say tomorrow, maybe we get some kind of reaction, but we cross over tomorrow like this, do we get that reaction down to the 50 and the 200 and then see that support come in from there? That's the crash signal we need to pay attention to. It's not necessarily just these are crossed, so we're going to crash. It's these are crossed, so if we use it as support and that 50 remains above the 200, that's when you know, hey, something more dramatic is happening here. Now, that could mean some kind of bigger overall correction. It could mean some kind of small bear market for the time being, but that's what I'd pay attention to. If you close below the 200 and the 50, it means you're probably going to see a pretty big squeeze. One thing I'm paying attention to is the dollar, seeing some green today as well, so we'll pay attention to that going forward, but for the most part, seeing if that daily side can cross up for the dollar. Dow seeing some positivity. Not as positive as yesterday, still by that center line. So we just got to pay attention if these things are starting to fade. Qs seeing some positivity, touching the daily expected move. SPY touching the daily expected move. So this is where resistance can come in. Do you think yen will go lower? I think eventually it will, but if in any way we're trying to support them, I don't know how the buying of those T-bills will actually affect anything. But for the most part, you would say the yen most likely does keep experiencing some trouble. I wouldn't say dropping. I would say maybe the yen gains some strength as long as their yields are going up, right? Yeah, so we saw the weakness in the dollar from that, from the yen going down, or from the yen going up, and then now we're seeing the opposite reaction, which might be what who was mentioning it, might be what Short Fridays was mentioning this morning. But we'll see. We're running into the daily expected move very, very early on today. I really just want to see how people are leveraged today. Actually, I might go look at some stuff just real quick to see what that looks like. Okay, let's do this. Let me look at some stuff for a second here, guys. A ton of calls today for the Qs at 445. A ton of calls at 445, and you've broken above that level, so you do have potential for that to squeeze higher, or people might take profit on those. A huge amount of calls at 445 for today for the Qs. Let's see what people did for the week. Looks like more calls and more puts. You're sitting at a 0.98 for the put call ratio for Friday for the Qs, the expiration for Friday. Max pain for the week for the Qs for Friday is 452.50, just so you're aware. And I just want you guys clicking around, looking at the stocks that we pay attention to. Tell me if any 30 minutes start to cross down, because that's what we need to see. We need to pay attention to that. As far as AMD goes, on the 30-minute, you're seeing this. So this is divergence, okay? You see the lows here, we see it pull across, that is divergence. So we will pay attention to it, see if that's able to hold. At this moment, that would be a sign that the 2-hour can experience more positivity, possibly reject here, and that's what's happening. It's starting to reject. So AMD actually saying, hey, I could head to the upside. That's what's being said from AMD. We have to look at the environment. AMD's been weak, a lot of weakness for AMD, but you have tapered off. You have made some divergence down here at the lows. So that is your signal that you have a good potential to go positive, yeah. They went dovish, yeah. Not necessarily, Kyle, but that's how you hurt retail and the options market the most. If you want to hurt options market the most, you do what SMCI did. You do what SMCI did. If there were a bunch of calls or something like that, I don't know if there were. I could probably go look. Let's see what the calls, if there were puts. Yeah, so the put call ratio on this was 0.652, which just tells you, hey, there were overall more puts than calls for this Friday's expiration. Now, there wasn't a ton of puts and calls. There's a decent amount, but for the most part, your calls open interest is 56.6K. Your put open interest was 36.9K. So if you wanted to hurt the most amount of people today, you would send it lower. And then if you want to hurt people again today, you actually go like this, you piss them off, you send it lower, then all of those puts feel happy, all those calls feel like ass, and then this turns up. And if this would turn up, then all the puts start to get damaged as well. Time will start to eat against them. AMC getting real tight in here. We'll see how that PCC opens up in a couple minutes. As far as Tesla goes, Tesla seeing that downside already. So someone mentioning Tesla, thank you for mentioning it, as it is experiencing some weakness. If that 30-minute crosses over, we could go make that low to get some point of divergence between all these lows. We'll pay attention to that, but just nailed SMCI for 1K. That's what's up. I love to hear it, Pitching Academy. That's freaking awesome. Hell yeah. So we'll watch Tesla. If that curls over, that's not going to be a good sign. We can kind of click around through this stuff. Apple experiencing some positivity. That's a good sign. So we did just whip right back around. We never crossed over on the MACD confirming anything. Amazon, we'll see if you can keep going up. Nvidia, AMD. I'm just kind of clicking through to see if anything's crossing real quick. Yeah, so it looks like a lot of things just bouncing to the upside for now. Netflix, pretty solid move there, actually. Didn't this have like 2-hour divergence too? Almost, not really though. So Netflix seeing some positivity here. A lot of these too will want to zoom out on the daily scale, say tomorrow. If you see positivity, well, this could be a swing trade signal for Netflix. AMC could give you that trade though very, very soon. So I'd just be a little bit cautious. You're at daily expected moves very early on in the day. The simplest way to think, the simple answer is usually the best one, right? That's kind of how it is. That's how I treat a lot of things in my life. The simplest answer is usually the best one. So as we look at this, we see flagging. We're going up towards a daily expected move. Just watch it. See if that's able to turn back down over the next hour or so. And if that doesn't turn down and you start to see that break out, well, then that 2-hour might be taking over. If that posts, we actually could see some upside. I don't think that their price targets are accurate at all. I would say maybe Tom Lee's are accurate, but I think he has some weird info because he literally comes out and just says a number half the time, and then he ends up being right, and I think that's kind of fishy. But for the most part, what you really want to be paying attention to every week is going to be the weekly expected moves. That's what is actually the best levels to pay attention to every single week. How do you calculate the daily, monthly, and yearly expected moves? You can look it up. You can look up how to calculate expected moves. There was a slight learning curve when I learned how to do it. You can literally type it on the internet. How do you use options data to calculate weekly expected moves? You can do it. It's perfectly fine. I'm not trying to hide it by any means. Now, I do sell that over on Patreon for $7 a month. That way you can get those levels directly from me. There is a slight learning curve. When do you actually pick up the implied volatility? Is it at the very end of the day? Is it an hour after close? Is it after the price action has moved? What is it? And I've kind of figured it out for myself. But for the most part, you can look up the calculation. Just type, how to create a daily expected move for a stock, and most likely the calculation will pop up. You just need implied volatility, the closing price of the previous day or the Friday of the previous week. And then you have to calculate the days to expiration as well. You know, start something like $100 on Patreon. Let's keep it a closed community. We could think about it. I'm thinking about making another tier just for live videos, and we're going to do like closing streams on there. But for now, I want to see how much interest there is in closing streams. So if you are interested in closing streams, just make sure to show up. I'm just kind of seeing that for August. We're going to do a lot of closing streams in August. It's my birthday month, so I figured, hey, it's my birthday. You guys can give me a gift by showing up to those closing streams, and I'll give you the gift of, hey, I'm going to show up as well. Yeah, Jackson, if you didn't know, turn on those notifications if you didn't know. I've been doing closing streams for the last like week. I've done like 5 of them in the last week, I think. I think I've done like 4 in the last week. They'll always be labeled, and if you see them in your YouTube and it says I'm live, just look for it. I usually put closing stream, right? So you'll usually see like closing stream. Oh, okay. At what time? The last hour, so an hour before close, we usually come back on. If I see something forming, I try to get on a little bit earlier. Apple is doing well. We have to see 2 hours curling up, not just yet, but that is your first signs of, hey, some positivity could be had here. That daily is down by the center line, so we can just look for simple swing trades. Now you have to look, we have all these moving averages here. You can get rejection at any time, just like we did here. We rejected just a little bit. Well, you can do that again. So we'll pay attention, but if this curls up, right, the MACD curls up, you have a simple swing trade and you might actually head up higher for the next like month. American Airlines, we haven't looked at that in a little while. American Airlines really dropping off, giving you a point of divergence though as of right now for the daily scale. So I don't necessarily want to look too deeply into this because I don't think you'll see very good signals here, but the daily scale, if that can turn up, hey, there could be positivity. What I want to see there is the 2 hour. Is the 2 hour giving me reversal signals? Not necessarily the best reversal signals at this point. So even if I do see a pop here, I really have to pay attention if that daily can actually cross on the MACD, right? Because that'll confirm some divergence there. But if this wants to see some kind of pop, drop again, create the stronger base, that's more the trade I would like to see to get in early behind that daily divergence. That's what I would say for American Airlines. But you are seeing that divergence. It doesn't look the best, right? You don't really like this type of price action, but you have to say that is divergence at this point. And if that did cross up, you can see a big move, maybe to go up and test that gap resistance towards 1217, but that can take a lot of time. Notice how much time it took us just to leak down, and then eventually we get there down towards this price point of $9. So I'd really be paying attention if that actually crosses up, or if the 2 hour creates that divergence to give me a little hint. I want to see dying out in momentum pretty much. That's all I want to see. The Dow's been helping us out a lot, so I'm going to click over to that a few times today. Thoughts on Palantir as a company? I don't think Palantir is a bad company by any means. No, I really don't. I think that it's going to be, you know, the problem with stocks in general, I think that's going on right now is, do rich people like this? Do rich people want to see the stock go higher? Do politicians want to see the stock go higher? Because that's what happened with Nvidia. Like Nvidia just sees good news after good news after good news because overall politicians own it. So it's like, if politicians own this, like a heavy amount of politicians, then I can say, okay, this can see some crazy moves and start to go to $50 or $60 or something like that. But for the most part right now, I got to treat it like a regular stock and say it looks like something they're not messing too much with. We're going into a key area here, right, where we could dip down to find those buyers and then curl back up. That would be the sign I'm looking for. This to get by the center line, then curl up. That's what I'm really looking for from Palantir. Solid move from the earnings. That's what I like to see, but I need to see that dip down in order to actually see the trade set up. Is Boeing showing some life? Boeing's stuck in a consolidation, right, on the bigger scale, actually distributing to the downside. So crossed over on the MACD here, now downside most likely option. 30-minute is up by that center line, so watch for that to cross as you're kind of pulling back, right? You're bouncing with time and you're getting close to that center line. So now you're not in those oversold conditions. If you just cross over like this, we can head lower actually. So that's what I'd be paying attention to for Palantir at this moment. but didn't it have, yeah, it has like a pretty big triangle going on here. So if it does cross over on that 30-minute, you can head lower. Looks like earnings really beat it up. Can we look at Hood? We haven't looked at Hood in a little while. Let's go check that out for a second. Robinhood dropping down dramatically. Do we see reversal signals? Well, I want to see the 2-hour first. Not necessarily. I'm seeing a 2-hour bounce, but I'd really like to see some strength from that and then curl down into maybe into negative territory again, create that divergence. As of right now, we do have earnings. It looks like coming up probably at the end of today, right? Yeah, after hours on Wednesday? Yeah, okay, so today, after hours, so we'll see what happens with this in the morning, but for the most part, you would say not the best look as of right now. In earnings is a 50-50 flip. That's all I can really say. Yeah, as long as you know your position size here, you know the risk that you're taking, because it is a 50-50 flip. You can see crazy stuff like SMCI. SMCI went up 10%, then down, what, 30, 15, 20%, something like that. So all within the post or the pre-market. So just be a little careful with it, right? But you just want to say, okay, I know my risk going into this. I do not know the info. Be honest with yourself. Do you know the info they're about to release? No, you don't. So taking a trade before that, before an unknown, the unknown should really fear you out. It should really scare you. Unknown is more of a scary thing than actually knowing what's going on. So it's pretty much like, why are you scared if you're standing alone in an open, dark room? It's because of the unknown. So that's what's going on with earnings. And you have to understand that is a 50-50 flip. So what do I do to mitigate my risk? I just say, hey, if there's going to be a big move with earnings in one direction, and I get that right, I can make plenty of money. So I can downsize this position in case I am wrong. That way, if I lose all of it, then it's not going to hurt me too much. Market giving it up, SPY. We'll see. It's at that daily expected move very early today. Just watch if these 30 minutes start to cross down. We could go create the stronger base. But a lot of people that I respect, that I look at, I only really pay attention to 2 or 3 people, and it's at times like this that I will go see what their assessment is, and a lot of them were thinking just like I was, hey, we dipped down, it's some kind of trap. That's what they're really thinking. They're saying we dip down, it's some kind of trap. We dip down a little bit, it's some kind of trap. And so that's how I'm taking it at this moment. But then that reaction to the upside, I think, caught even me and those others off guard a little bit. But it's not to say it's too, this isn't like a crazy gap up that's getting above this level, above the daily expected move, and we're just going to take off, right? Not yet. So we still have to pay attention for the next hour and a half, as this is only 30 minutes of a 2-hour bar. XLR. Wait, are you saying XLR or XLE? If you're talking about the real estate sector over here, well, one thing to know, and we talked about real estate, we talked about the housing market, and we talked about how that move down in yields could actually, because it was kind of preemptive, it wasn't necessarily because a recession is happening. It's not because something broke in the system. So those yields coming down can actually cause more inflation in the housing market, real estate market. And you just have to think a little bit with common sense here. The reason I'm talking about that is because of the common sense angle. So for the most part, 2-hour here curls up, okay, positive territory, we can see a positive move. That's what I would overall say from this at this point, but that could be brief. So the reason that we could see actually real estate go up for a brief moment here, and maybe if something breaks very soon, but the reason you could see that go up is because my brother's in that industry, right? I almost became an MLO, so I can understand how people's sentiment is. There's a lot of buyers sitting on the sideline waiting for better rates with homes that they already want to make bids on and things like that, and they want to lock in those rates. But as that came down dramatically, they could lock over the weekend at an extremely lower price, at a lower rate, and that just tells me how many people actually went out and did that. How many people were sitting on the sidelines just waiting for a better rate and saying, screw it, at least I get a better rate even though the price sucks. And that actually can mean that they are still buying homes at these high prices in a lot of big cities. So that can tell me, okay, the sellers weren't willing to come down in price. Now we see this big reaction down in yields. That could encourage those people who are sitting on the sidelines to make a decision and say, okay, lock me in at the rate, send in the bid, let's get this thing going, lock in the rate. Okay, awesome. Now they did that. but they're still buying it at the higher price, which will cause inflation to go up. So that's something I'm paying attention to in the housing market, but that's more of a common sense type of thinking. But for things like this, it's kind of proving itself, right? You're seeing right away on Tuesday, yesterday, and we're overall seeing what happened. Well, that really fell off, and then now we're seeing that explode back higher. So I think that's what's going to go on here, is we could experience some more inflation in these type of markets. Now, if that starts to escalate too quickly, if that kind of rebounds or something like that, and that starts to give up, we might experience something bad. As we do know, Florida, Texas, probably starting to leak into other communities than Florida and Texas, other states than that. But as of right now, Florida and Texas, they're starting to see those buyers really sit on the sideline, and you're starting to see inventory start to go up. So something like those yields dropping off could have caused those markets to actually still be priced in higher for those housing prices, as those sellers weren't willing to come down on price, and we saw a big reaction down from the yields. Yeah, how to set it up, like I do, all you're going to want to do is pull up, get all these things on there. Main one is going to be this one here. I just type SMA 950 180. Now I do change mine to a 200, and sometimes I switch the 9 to a 5, but right now I do have a 9, I have a 50, and I have a 200. The 200's in white down here. If you want to do the same color coding as me and everything, just kind of take a screenshot for yourself real quick. And then you want to add MACD, just the first one. It's going to say moving average convergence divergence, and then RSI, it's going to say relative strength index. So pretty much you go up to indicators, boom, right here, you just type MACD, boom, that types in for you, awesome. Then you want to go over here and type RSI, and boom, relative strength index is there. Now, I don't do the average line, right? I take out the yellow line. I just want to see what's going on with the momentum here, with the strength, right? So we're paying attention to that, but that's overall all you need to really set up your charts to be like this. Yeah, I'm not someone who tries to hide my indicators. I know a lot of people, when they put out YouTube videos, they hide this kind of stuff. I don't care. I think you guys, I think retail needs as much help as possible, and that's kind of why I'm here. So you think the drop is over? It could be if this 2 hour actually crosses fully up in the next, I would say, hour and a half. You have about an hour and a half for this bar to really confirm itself. But Nvidia is telling you, it told you early on, like, hey, I do have potential for a good bounce here, but it's not necessarily seeing the best strength. So we're more so seeing some strength, like some pretty good strength across the board. AMD trying to confirm some stuff here as well. Meta seeing a 3% move up. Microsoft seeing that move up. So a lot of things just going up by 2 to 3%, causing the market to go up as well. Lost a lot last week and this week. Yeah, that's unfortunate. What we're trying to do is help you out with the next one, right? Try to learn from it. That's the best you can do. Really write down where you made your mistakes. Maybe it was position sizing. You guys know, in a market like this, even me, myself, I have not placed huge trades. My only bigger trades would still be my TLT investment. And that one here, if this daily were to cross over at some point, then I would be out of that trade. But we got back into this somewhere around this level here of 93. And that's why I'm paying attention to what's going on with TLT. But we could see an opposite reaction if people realize, oh, they're not going to cut in August, and they don't mention, like, we're for sure going to cut in September, right? Then you can see the opposite reaction. We can get more inverted, and the stock market can go higher. Yeah, it looks like some people, Short Friday's doing some research into what the Fed is overall doing, and it looks like they are pumping some money back into the system, which would mean more upside, which means more inflation in the future. So the key thing here, too, is you can pay attention to what's going on in real life. So in real life, my wife just went to the market to get food, to go to the grocery store yesterday, I believe. Yeah, it was yesterday. And we paid for the exact same amount of stuff that we got last time. We paid $40 more. So that was about a 12%, 15% increase there. So if that's a 15% increase there, okay, then we know that inflation most likely is still going up at that point, right? Just think of it, what's happening in real life. If you're experiencing A deflationary event, that is when prices come down. If we do not experience a deflationary event, then those prices should hold steady and just go up by 2% gradually. But we just saw, at least at our grocery store, we saw pretty much like a 12% increase in the things that we're buying. So that's something to pay attention to, and you can pay attention to real life. If you start to see, like if the market's going higher and you start to see grocery prices really drop off, then you know groceries are actually experiencing possibly a deflationary event, and the market might follow that very soon. So that's something I would pay attention to. Another thing is we're outside of the daily expected move in the first less than an hour into the day. So watch if this starts to roll over. Need to start couponing. And yeah, she actually was like a pro couponer when I met her. So in the room next to me in our storage room, we have like tons of detergent and stuff from her couponing days. I think we got like 20 packs of diapers for $30 because of her couponing. Yeah, it's kind of like a market where if you're trading the shorter time frames, it's like you can't really take a break, it seems like even if I'm working on my other projects for my other company, it's like I have to keep stocks up all the time. I can't really take a break. So I am watching stuff all the time. But this is where you do have a 68% chance to land down here by the end of the day. So as you get up to this point, it's actually more likely to see this start to give up. We'll see what happens with that. PCC still sitting at higher levels, but coming down. So as it does come down, those are calls coming into the market. So that's something to pay attention to going forward. Volatility, we can see this as well on the 30 minutes, seeing that rejection. What I want to see from volatility, if we're going to see that scale up, is a 2-hour cross. We'll see the 2-hour is down by the center line right here. If that just crosses up, you can see another big move higher. We'll see if there's divergence at that point or a lower high. While the SPY makes a divergence, that will kind of hint to us, okay, this is a trap, right? We will call it out as a trap if I see the trap signals. Right now, we said up at these highs, hey, the VIX is going up by 60 or 100, or what was it? It went up to 61. So when it went up by hundreds of percent, okay, we need to pay attention to that. Is that justified with what's happening in the market? Well, we're seeing a reaction that says we're hitting a COVID crash level, and then we're only seeing really down a 2.5% day. So that's not really adding up to me. Randy's making some good money. That's awesome, Randy. I'm happy for you. That's fantastic. Yeah, if you really, these videos are more things to pay attention to. And then if you really are able to pay attention and really learn about how to look at these signals correctly, you should be benefiting from an overall big windy market like this. You can take simple swing trades, take a 20-30% profit pretty early, like things like that can happen. Can we talk about Tesla and Nvidia? Yeah, we've talked about them a little bit this morning, but for Nvidia, first off, it is confirming a 2-hour divergence. We still want to watch 30-minute charts. 30-minute charts today in the morning are going to be the most important thing. Are they rolling over? Is Nvidia telling me, hey, I am in positive territory, which means I can go make a higher low, right? I can go make a higher low, but if I do roll over, I want to treat that like that could be very, very bad. Okay, we're in a high volatility time right now, so I want to treat that like that can be very, very bad. And then if it does do this, I still want to treat it like it's bad, but if we just get a blip up like that, okay, did this give me the divergence point at that time? That's what I would be paying attention to for Nvidia, and pretty much a lot of stocks across the board. Even Tesla is going to be like that as well. So that's kind of nice when you're looking at two stocks. You say you're looking at Nvidia and Tesla, and they're both doing a similar thing to pay attention to, curling over on the MACD in negative territory. The only difference being Tesla a little bit weaker. Okay, so Tesla more likely to test the low, go make a new one. More likely to go make a new one here for Tesla. We'll see if that's able to base out, give you some kind of divergence down here. That would be a signal to pay attention to. Right when everyone's extremely, extremely, extremely fearful, that's when, you start to pull the trigger in the other direction. That's more what we're looking for. How was the concert? It was good. My only complaint with it was the band before I Prevail. What was it? Hailstorm. their singer is insanely good. Like she is her voice is insane, and she was putting it all out there, man. Like, you know, you would think you come to not necessarily a huge city like mine, but it's really not that big of a city. And then she came in and she gave it, and we pulled up to the concert and it was filled. Like we had to park almost by the stop sign at the entrance of the main road, not just like the entrance of the place. The entrance of the main road to get to the place is pretty much where we had to park. So it was awesome. Overall, the only complaint I would have is every single artist seemed to have this. We showed up for Hollywood Undead, and it was a lot of fun. Those guys are funny. They brought a 10-year-old. And thank you, SY, for joining us today. Really, thank you for subscribing. But the Hollywood Undead there was a 10-year-old, so they brought a 10-year-old on stage, and she was hyping up the crowd. And she was very nervous. It was very funny. But overall, it was a good experience. Once again, the only complaint I would have is the sound system there seemed like they didn't have the best audio tech or something, because it seemed kind of muffled, like you couldn't really hear what the vocalist was singing. You more so just heard the big beats is what I would say, which kind of bugs me. I like the vocals because I'm a singer, so I like vocals. I'm a drummer too, so I like hearing drums, and the drums just sounded a little bit messy to me. I like clean drums. The last time I went to that venue, I saw Travis Barker doing drums, and he was flipping around in the sky. They had like a platform, and he was rotating and stuff, and he was insane. So I'm a huge drummers fan. I want a drum, but I'd make way too much noise all day. So those are the two parts I care about. And when those are muffled, I'm like, ugh, it just sounded better at other venues is what I would say. Can you sing for us, karaoke stream? Well, I would if I didn't get demonetized every time I sing, which I take as a compliment. It means I'm on tune. Oh yeah, I've seen those electric ones where you just have like headphones and you just kind of like play on the pads or whatever. I think those are very cool. But I want that feel of hitting a real drum. Is Disney dropping to $80? It was dropping pretty quick. Yikes. So even here, though, you see there could be a 30-minute divergence forming. Like, don't be tricked by any means. Now, this is a direction off of earnings, so you have to take it with a grain of salt. But if you start to see some good buying pressure here, you will have divergence. It doesn't mean like this is going to fully recover and immediately go positive trend. It just means like, hey, this popped up like this. We're going positive. You could see a good move and make a good trade. That's more so how I treat markets like this. Not trying to catch a bottom to be like, oh, I want to make $1 million. Just, can I make 50 to 150% out of a move here? Maybe if I cross up like this, can I get this to go up to $92 or something? Or maybe to fill this gap up here towards 93, and maybe that's going to be worth 100% by then. That's more so what I'm doing in a market like this. I've been doing it pretty much for all of 2024. Trying to take profit early and those kinds of things. Q is still having struggle. So even though the SPY broke through its daily expected move, just notice the Q is struggling a little bit more. This is why I really want to pay attention to the next hour and 20 minutes. I'm still long on Palantir. Yeah, Palantir seeing a solid move here, breaking above this key level. I would still think you'd want to pull back, but hey, some of the strongest moves just curl up into positive territory. So we'll see. This 2 hours trying to go positive. That is a solid bounce there. What I'd really like to see is the daily signal for a lot of these start to confirm up, because this is going to be a good bar. That's the kind of the first signal for a swing trade to the upside. You're just not having the lagging indicator there just yet. So I'm saying this is a great bar, but we could just pull back for a day and then see that fully confirm this up. But this is the swing trade signal to pay attention to. You have a positive bar above all the moving averages. You have the RSI above the center line. The only thing that's lagging behind is the lagging indicator, the MACD. And on the swing trading daily side of things, that's going to happen a lot. If you're doing this with more of a volatile market and you see divergence or something like that, that is more when you can wait for that confirmation, because you know a big move's coming. This move could just like cross like right here and be done right here and then be gone. So we'll pay attention to it. But for now, Palantir, what I'd say is if you do see an upside move, just pay attention. You have a divergence across the way. So if that does cross up, watch for a divergence up at these levels, a quick one, because it could give up sooner than you think. But I like the trade setup. That's what I would just say for now. It looks like a good swing trade. I understand if you're taking things to the upside here, just make sure things aren't rolling over on 2-hour charts. Make sure things aren't rolling firmly over on 30-minute charts. You could experience pullbacks. Well, as far as that goes, Daniel Lee, we kind of teach that. We go over that in the swing trading course a bit. What I would do if I was one of those people is I'm looking for monthly confirmations of these moves, because you'll notice even for the SPY, if I wanted to buy this and hold it for a long time, well, what would I want to do? Most likely, I just want to see, is momentum confirming an upside move? Yes. We experienced a pullback. We talk about that a little bit in the video. You can go into a weekly and see if that turns back up. Okay, now it seems safe again. Never crossed over on this MACD. So you know, okay, this area was a good buy zone. Now it heads to the upside. That's more how I look at it. Make sure you're seeing monthly positivity in any stock. And you'll notice if you just go back a lot of the time when you get this nice windy stuff here, you can look at Meta, you can look at plenty of stocks and just see, hey, what did they do in 2020? Well, they curled up on a monthly MACD, all right? And they never looked back. They kind of dipped down for a moment, but then they never really look back, and you see that big upside move. And then you just want to see, okay, this is probably where I want to get out of that position, right? We teach this in the courses very thoroughly. And then you see, oh, that drops off. Okay, that crossed back up. Okay, awesome. From there, awesome. We saw some positivity. Obviously, you're going to consolidate a lot of the time, but as long as it doesn't cross, you're pretty good. So that heads to the upside, and boom, you have an upside move again. That's just kind of the monthly scale type thing. Tesla trying to bounce back as of right now. I'm just going to watch the Qs, actually. They look a little bit weaker coming to that daily expected move. Yeah, hopefully that's helpful, Daniel. And if you want more clarification on that, just grab one of those courses when you get the chance. I'm not going to, push you to do that today, but overall, we talk about it pretty thoroughly in the course, and we talk about, managing the trade on weekly scales, especially when you see that cross up, because a lot of the time you'll notice on a lot of charts, pretty much any charts, when you do get that cross up, usually you get consolidation right after it. So it doesn't mean like, hey, that a lot of the time too, so it's like kind of 50-50 a little bit. You can see that boom upward when you get those crossings, or you can consolidate. So you just want to manage the trade during that consolidation. And then when that turns up, then you just say, okay, now I've made it through the woods a little bit there. Now I'm confirming more upside. I can just do that by looking at taking profit on a swing trade. That's more how I would look at it. Give me 2 seconds, guys. I'm going to go use the restroom real quick, and I will be right back. 2 seconds, Turkish. Tell me if this stuff rolls over, guys. Keep me aware. And we're back. Oh, what is that? What the heck is happening there? That doesn't look too good. Are we rejecting? We'll see. We still got time. As far as this one goes, does this one have earnings? That's the thing. Yeah, it has earnings. So that's a problem. Now that seems like a big reaction to the upside that can be given up, but for the most part, I would just say, hey, you know, I just teach people, you know, make sure to come down on that position size so earnings doesn't hurt you too much. You're going to see plenty of a big move. Awesome. Okay, we can see a big move up. We can see a big move down. You'll make plenty of money. So that's all I can say about earnings. Pretty much at this point, you have some hope that, you know, this could cross over. There's no signals in here saying that that has to cross over, besides the fact that you're overbought and you might need a 30-minute pullback. So this could still pull down. But other than that, that's the main things to say there. SPY starting to come back down into the daily expected move. Starting to see a little bit of rejection here. Oh, right as people go to the call side. Oh, God. Okay, so people go to the call side. All right, people go to the call side, and we immediately start to see a little bit of a downturn. We'll see what this adds up to for the most part right now. We don't want to read into it too much, but the dollar kind of consolidating here, but still positive while the market's positive, so we'll pay attention to it. AVGO. We haven't looked at AVGO yet. Nvidia is pretty simple. Look if that 30 minutes crossing down on the MACD, but you do have a 2-hour that just confirmed. Did those come out today or is that tomorrow? Tomorrow. Initial jobless claims is expected to come down tomorrow, which is interesting as unemployment goes up. All right, as far as this guy goes, same type of thing, right? Now you are positive, so a little bit likely to, if you do cross over here, we should still treat that as some kind of negativity coming. You are close to negative territory. You can head lower, a little bit more probability to see that higher low, but we want to treat this as a bad thing. It's a bad thing. Below the 200 on the 30, crossing down, negative trend still available there. More so the time to pay attention was with the divergence right here. You can see that kind of flatness on the MACD. Upward move here on the RSI. So that was more telling you there could be a bounce. So we're getting a 30-minute bounce. Did it curl up the 2-hour? Yes, it did. You have 2-hour divergence as well. We could just dip down for a brief moment and then curl back up. I'd really pay attention to that 30-minute. But you have to say in this negative trend, this has seen a lot of downside and it keeps breaking through structure over and over, rejecting from that level now. So I would just say if this curls over, hey, bad things can happen. If it turns back around, I can react. SPY, SPY. Everyone's saying SPY, SPY. SPY, SPY. Oh, god dang, I still have hiccups. I swear I have hiccups every morning. SPY for now, not a ton happening. We just have to see if this 2-hour is going to fully cross here. I think that's going to be pretty telling. And it's not above the center line for the RSI yet, so we could get a fake out move here. We'll pay attention as we're outside of a daily expected move very early on in the day. Thank you guys for being here today. Make sure to leave a like on the channel if you're enjoying today's stream. Make sure to tune in for later today as we will be going live for the last hour. That's right, about 33, I think it's 33 to 35% of the volume for the entire day comes in the last hour. So that's why we're coming back for it. We're doing a lot more closing streams, so make sure you're subscribed with notifications on. All right, guys? Thank you guys for liking the video. I need SPY low 528 and good to go till this afternoon. So you'd really want this to cross over, but at any time you can really see a reaction down to 528. That's for sure. You can probably see a reaction down to this level, but is it consolidating all day? And then we see a breakout. Is it actually breaking down? That's what we want to pay attention to. As of right now, people getting pretty overzealous, I would say, to the call side as of right now. So if I was the market maker, what would I do? Well, I'd start to flip those on their head. I would start to push the market down. So I want to see if 2 hours are curling up, hourlies are curling up, anything like that can lead to some negativity. But we want to treat this as this is a very bad thing. The SPY can start to drop. Volatility is increasing. But if that gives us a lower high, we're ready to react. All right? I'm with the market maker. I hear you. It's not a bad thing to do, right? So for the Dow, we'll pay attention to this as well, seeing weakness at the same time, not able to curl up on the 2 hour yet. A little bit different than the SPY there. Qs, were they able to curl up on the 2 hour? Yes, they are trying to right now. So this bar is very important. We got about an hour left to watch this. So by the end of the stream here to this morning, and then we can come back for later today, by the end of the stream this morning, we should be able to see, is this going to firmly unconfirm that 2 hour? XP, what is this guy? Expedia. Expedia for now, that's not a very good look, starting to close below the moving averages. You got probably the next 30-minute bar is going to be very important, but if you do drop off here, you can see some weakness, test the low, go make a new one. Pay attention though, treat this as, hey, very bad, but if I see a divergence, I can see that pop up. But I also have to be careful because what's coming out soon? Earnings, which I have no idea what the data is going to say about this. Maybe you could look into traveling statistics and things like that. But for the most part, I want to treat this as a 50-50 flip either way. Even if I go look at those stats and they look good to me, okay, if I see this type of signal, right, I see this crossing up, okay, awesome, I can make a decision, but I have to make that decision with earnings in mind. 50-50 flip, if I don't know the exact data, I don't know what they're going to say in their call or anything like that. So I have to say, okay, if I'm going to take a play here, I'm going to downsize that position. That will help me mitigate my risk. Novax. Novax, something that I have. I have Novax. Novax, is it? What the heck? Not necessarily seeing that ticker right now. But that looks like something that I probably don't pay too close attention to. All right, let's just leave it on here for a bit. Tesla really looking like it wants to roll. Nvidia looking like it wants to roll. AMD not rolling yet, confirming the divergence for AMD. Meta not really showing it really wants to roll. It's trying to. Google still kind of looking okay. AMC might want to roll. GME might want to roll. SMCI already rolled, if you didn't know. Even Mara trying to roll here, actually. Mara could see some downside. I wonder what that means. Is Bitcoin seeing some weakness right now? Are we seeing a 2 hour try to roll over? Yes, we are. So we're seeing with that weakness from Bitcoin. This could mean we're going to lead into this zone and go make that divergence or a lower high, higher low. Novavax. Okay, I'll look at that. I think we do. I mean, if this can confirm down, then we will see most likely some kind of downturn for Ethereum as well. But we'll see if divergences are created for Bitcoin, and that can help you out with Ethereum. Even if you want to, you can still do analysis on Bitcoin and then go look at Ethereum, right? So we can go look at Ethereum and see what's it doing. It's doing the same thing as Bitcoin for the most part. And it could create that divergence, but maybe I want to use Bitcoin as another reason to take the trade and then say if that confirms for Bitcoin, I need to look at Ethereum. Is it lagging behind? Blah, blah, blah. All right, let's try this. Novavax. NVAX, that's what it is, NVAX. For now, you have a 2 hour crossing up. 30-minute could be giving you that divergence again. So you're seeing another point here. You have a divergence, you went sideways. Now if that curls down, you might make another point of divergence, but you want to treat that as this could be very bad. You have earnings right around the corner. This could be very bad. If I have to take a play with earnings or something like that, okay, then I know to shrink that position size. But if this curls down, that could mean, hey, we're going to make a point of divergence before that comes up. Earnings might throw that for a loop. All right, earnings is just a 50-50 thing. You saw what just happened to SMCI. Boom, boom, all before the market even opened. Many are below the point of control here. Let's just go back over to the SPY, just casually looking at it, saying, okay, are we going to curl down? Yeah, if you look at a monthly for Nvidia, it's actually fantastic if you look at a monthly for Nvidia. So you'll notice this for Nvidia starting to curl down. When was the time to invest? Daniel earlier asking about, hey, is there a way to just trade by holding a stock? Well, it would be something like Nvidia crossing up above the moving averages, crossing up above the center line. Any of these bars in here really work, and then boom, you see upside, right? So you really have to catch those times. So we could be in one of those times where Nvidia does pull down for quite some time and then it curls up. What if it pulls down to $50 and then curls back up? Okay, awesome. That should mean we have about a year of positivity, if not 2 years. And then if you go look at Apple, Apple is a little choppier, right? Apple's a little choppier, but what you're really looking for is still a beat down to the center line that has positive potential, right? So there you go, boom, right here, awesome, big upside. Maybe this was enough to take profit on. We kind of talk about taking profit on weekly divergences just in case, and then if it turns up, okay, awesome, goes up again. Now that monthly has crossed below. If you did wait for the MACD to cross, that would be right here. As you can see, that'd still be a fantastic trade from here all the way up to here. That'd still be fantastic. Then you curl down. What happens? You curl up on this MACD, but you have to pay attention to the signals here. We were putting out videos here that said, hey, there is some weakness on the daily scale. We saw that drop off. We see it pop up. We said here again, there's more weakness here with possibly a double top. Boom, that drops off. Now you confirmed up on this bar. You're seeing some of that positivity, but you notice it's getting tighter. So that's just the environment you're in right now, is more you're seeing things get tighter and tighter, and they're creating divergences here on monthly scales. So this is why you want to be cautious going long for, say, 2 years behind a lot of these stocks. You want to more wait for that bigger corrective move, maybe something like this, and then you see that curl up, and you go, okay, now I can make a decision. That's more so how I treat investing. I haven't had to even try to invest for a while in this type of market. I'm not going to invest at these higher levels. I'm waiting for the big moment. Because the SPY hasn't even curled down yet. So the last time to invest was over here. When you kind of unconfirm the divergences, you see that the Fed is buying back into the market, right? They're pumping money back in. Okay, awesome. They're doing that right now, but it's at the top. It's not towards a low, which is very scary. Scary for inflation. Let's see if that 2 hour is probably still confirmed. Ooh, topping tail. Now we're talking full bear market. We'll see if it goes down by 15%. It is acting like a bear market, and that could continue. The bear market actually begins, right? It actually begins with that big drop. Weirdly enough, even though people would say it begins at 15%, a lot of the time you'll see this big drop, and then what you're going to see is a 30-minute divergence that leads to a 2-hour pop, and then that 2 hour will curl back down, and that's when you want to see, okay, am I seeing reversal signals on the 2 hour? So for the 2 hour here, you actually could see, okay, what if we do create that 30-minute, then we see a prolonged bounce like this, then we actually reach down again, and then you see a 2 hour divergence that causes a bigger bounce that convinces people, oh, okay, everything's jolly, and then that's when the floor is really ripped away. That's at least how I see it at this moment, but we're at a point where volatility is extremely high, so something bad could be happening pretty much at any time. We could see good events and bad events back to back to back. Oh. Someone's dog's out there. There are some stocks hitting 2020 lows right now. You just have to look for them, weirdly enough. I've seen a bunch of stocks that are testing those 2020 lows. Tesla, did you cross yet? No. Nvidia kind of coming down. We'll see what, oh gosh, Nvidia. Actually, we should watch this one for a moment. Intel for a sec. Let's go look for a second. Yeah, so you're just moving. See how you're just pausing here? You're kind of getting a bounce with, say, time. Okay, you're getting close to that center line. If that just goes bloop, if this just goes bloop, you can start to head lower. but also we're trying to base out. So we will look for the bigger time frames as well, but this is just no reversal signal in sight. Yeah, the MACD is, or the RSI is moving up, MACD is moving up, so it's telling you, hey, we should be bouncing, but you're just not. So if those buyers can step in, you kind of break through this area here. You can see that positivity towards 2464, but for the most part, by the center line curls down, bad things can happen. Nvidia, we just have to watch closely, probably for the next 30 minutes, because look how close that is to crossing. If that sees any negativity for the next 25 minutes, we can see some downside. We'll see. PCC starting to grow again. Crypto's starting to reject. That's one thing to pay attention to. Bitcoin's been making the move just barely before the actual market. So 2-hour crossing is what I'm really paying attention to here. That is a pretty weak signal there. Got an hour and 25 minutes left in the bar. What did the housing index do, by the way? HGX, kind of flaggy here. Let's see if that crossed over yet. Okay, so the housing index seeing some weakness as well. That can be an early indication if this crosses over. If this crosses over, Nvidia crosses over, then the likelihood of the SPY and the Qs rolling down is actually pretty high. It's a pretty good probable thing. But this market's done some crazy stuff lately, so I don't want to just take a trade based on that. I want to see the actual signal. I just want to keep that in mind, that I need to be ready to react if the SPY sees weakness. Oh, stretchy out. I don't know what's up with it. My computer always, like, I swear every other day, my computer, like, doesn't want my headphones to work. It's so annoying. Ooh, what about IWM? Are small caps leading? No. Dow? Nope, nothing really giving us a hint yet. I think Nvidia is the best hint we can get if that would cross over on a 30-minute MACD. To talk Bitcoin, Truth Social, and politics should be interesting and possible catalyst. It very well could. I think that will be interesting. Remember our fun play? Well, we have a fun play for DJT. So let's go look at DJT, actually. Let's go look at that real quick. We got time. Ooh, cross down on me. That jerk. What a rude, rude DJT. Dang it, fun trade. You're supposed to be fun. This isn't fun. No, we'll see. Now, where the heck is Nvidia? Nvidia is what we really need to be watching, though. I gotta see when my buddy... Oh, yeah, I need to grab something real quick. I'll be right back. 2 minutes, Turkish. It would kind of be silly of me if, like, someone broke into my house and I had to run into a room past them to get my Glock. Like, how silly of me. No, I gotta keep that thing next to me. What am I doing? Puts on the VIX. For volatility, real quick, you just want to see if this stuff is starting to curl up. I would say on an hourly chart first. That can tell you where there's some weakness. All right, so I'd really pay attention if this hourly can curl up, which would mean the SPY is probably curling down on the 30-minute. So for now, really watching Nvidia to give us a hint of what's going to go on here. As you can see, 30-minute experiencing a little bit of weakness, but we're right in the area we could form that right shoulder. Okay, we're right in the area where, hey, left head, maybe right shoulder. So we'll pay attention. We start to break through, I would say this level right here. Break through that, break through our zone. That would be a little bit more worrisome. But this is like, okay, can we just do this and then go up? Or are we gonna go like that and then go up? Or are we just going to fall through the floor, right? There's plenty of options. We just want to treat this as really bad if this crosses. And then if it crosses up, we go, oh, okay, cool. We're going to go to the upside. Amazon trying to get out of its zone. It's trying. It's still by that center line. That's the only problem for me. See, this is what like Intel should be doing, but it's just going like whip, like flatlining. How's IWM? IWM looking like it needs to do the same thing. Looks like it might want to roll over as well. So what's Palantir? Palantir's still seeing that upside. Uh-oh. Oh, we're gonna make a 15-minute divergence or something. Maybe that plays out. Uh-oh, Nvidia starting to go red on this bar. This is where we really have to see it. See if that crosses. MLGO. Micro algo for now, a bunch of 30-minute divergences, but you're going to see that a lot in a stock that's just dying off, right? Dying down towards $1. So what I more want to see are some bigger signals, at least 2 hour. We're seeing a bunch of those. So I want to see where it's at on the daily scale. We're seeing some crazy stuff here, but you're curling up as of today, even with a bad bar. What I'd more be paying attention to is, do we actually see that bounce up for some kind of move? Because this is just a bad look. It's not necessarily a good look by any means. You're looking for, it looks like big runs. What happens before those big runs? So that's all you have to think about. Really simplify it for yourself so you're not looking at 30 minutes convincing yourself of things. What happens before big runs? Well, before this big run where we saw these big wicks, at least you got a signal from the daily chart heading up right here, and then you saw more upside, right? So maybe we want to go into, say, a 4 hour. Let's try to make it really simple for ourselves. If maybe this can go positive, then we make a decision, right? 4 hour crossed up right here. Awesome, great move. That's sweet. Great move after that. So just wait for things to go positive, but this is a very hard one to do technicals on because it's just dying off fast. I don't know if it has a short seller problem or something like that. If it has a short seller problem, then you know what to do. You just hold the thing. It's like the most basic thing ever. You want AMC and GME to pop? They will eventually if enough people just hold the thing. If enough people sell it on the retail side, then guess what? It's probably going to go to zero. But if enough people can hold it, then that's really the only thing you have to do. Time is your friend if you're holding the stock in a lot of those. Not necessarily from what I'm seeing. I did take a peek at it short Fridays. I'm not necessarily seeing that at this moment. I'm just seeing a 30-minute that looks like it might want to cross down. We'll see. Let's click through, see if anything has crossed down even before. Tesla experiencing some weakness. Amazon actually not doing what everything else is doing, kind of fading right now, but Nvidia is the one more fading. AMD not looking the strongest, but consolidating. Meta looks like it needs some kind of pullback. That could lead to a lower or a higher low. That one could lead to a higher low. That one could be a lower low. Netflix, I believe, could be a higher low if this experiences some weakness. Thank you, JC. I appreciate that. It's a very difficult one. I'm sorry, I wish I could talk differently about it, JC. Like, I really do. I wish that the signals looked better so I could have more to say, but that's just a very difficult one. If there is a short seller problem, though, that's mainly the mentality you have to have with, say, things like AMC and GME. If it has any kind of short seller problem, it's just, can enough people hold the stock? That's pretty much what you're looking at. For Nvidia, it's just when this actually does happen. If this can base out pretty well, and we're starting to see some green again, so what I'm really just looking for is the daily swing trade. If that daily swing trade can happen, then yeah, I think you actually do have a pretty good shot to go test that level, but I have to be open to a lower high, right? So if I can cross through this little trend line up here, you see this trend line up here that I'm moving, that trend line there, if I can cross through that after getting the swing trade signal, boom, we can see a nice upside move. You may even head up for quite some time, right? We may build this up over time. You know, nothing goes up in a straight shot, so take this drawing into consideration, right? Grain of salt, but you could do something like this and then see that reversal signal from Nvidia. But for now, and Jay says, like, I'm really good at holding stuff. Set it and forget it. Hey, that's not a bad strat there, Diana. You know, sometimes it's good just to be like, hey, as long as I can take profit at some point, I'll be happy. But for now, we just have to really still pay attention. Looks like we're getting another move upward here. So no crossing down just yet. No reason to react. No reason to freak out. Nothing's happening here that's different. We're consolidating. If we start to break through, we can actually see positivity again. SPY consolidating. See how it's consolidating up here? So we'll see in the next 45 minutes if that's able to cross back down. Did it hit your, did it hit that 528 level? The low, 528.50, 528.26. So close to 528. We're back within those monthly expected moves, still in the flagging pattern for now. We want to see if we start to violate that. That can be a good sign for positivity. VIX not able to do much. SPY starting to break to the upside. Yeah, and I think it's good to short Fridays. I think a good tip that I learned was I was the same way. I would watch stocks from like 6, and then I would watch stocks all the way up until like 8 p.m. sometimes. And so what I would most likely do, and what I've changed a lot, is I've tried to give myself at least some kind of break for lunch in the middle of the day and just like treat it like if something bad happens, at least I have my position size managed in some way. But if something bad happens, I would rather spend an hour of my day, at least in the middle of my day, with my family. And so I try to not look at stocks too much past about 5 o'clock, 5 or 6 o'clock, and then I try to spend time with family at night, and then in the afternoon I do try to have lunch with my family every single day. Dollars down. Reddit, no good signals here. Like literally no good signals here. No good signals there. No real good signals. Now the only thing you have potential for is a swing trade to the upside. We'll see if that forms over time, but Reddit does not look pretty here. You just gotta see what happens. We're holding the flag at this point. Dollar is heading down a little bit. Volatility remaining subsided. Dow not confirming down. Nvidia not confirming down. So we are building up right now. Let's see. Excuse me, sorry. SMCI is just going to be a wild one. Now you do have some signals here still for SMCI, I would say. A little bit, right? You have like a 2-hour signal here, but it's starting to violate all the divergence you had. You had some crazy price action in the post-market, boom, boom, and the pre-market. So that's something to pay attention to. Right now the direction's down. You don't necessarily have reversal signals. So you need to take back this 200, start to give us that swing trade if we're going to see any upside. See how when you curl up on the daily, you see what? Positivity, curl up on the daily, more positivity, curl up on the daily, a little bit more positivity in the overall channel, I would say. LLY we haven't looked at. Oh, that's LLU. LLY. This one here as well, daily swing trade is what I would mainly be looking for if I want to stay safe. If I want to look at the earlier signals, well, I need to see a 30-minute starting to go positive. So at this point, you would say, hey, we came back down to these lows. We tried to make sort of a higher low between this one. And if that curls up, we can see a positive move. That's all I want to read into if I'm looking at the shorter time frames. If I look at a 2-hour, I'm seeing a bunch of divergence across the way, which tells me actually LLY could get some kind of bounce if that 2-hour can go positive. And if that 2-hour goes positive, then you're most likely going to see the daily swing trade signal start to confirm down here. RSI, MACD, price action, all of that will start to confirm if that 2-hour has something to really say about momentum. AMC going back down to $5, curled down on the 30-minute MACD, most likely. Not just yet, not just yet. So starting to wick up, still holding in that price area. If that curls down, bad things can happen. But we gotta watch Nvidia for another 40 minutes. Well, there is something to say with that, in that your money is stuck with a company. If that company goes under, they're not necessarily, you're not always guaranteed for them to pay out your amount. So he's not incorrect, but I would say once you hit the sell button, that's where you make money. And then you should have probably an amount that you're taking out every single month. That's what I used to do. Now, right now I'm doing what overall you're saying. I keep that money in my accounts for the most part, into my trading accounts for now. And I use other things to pay for stuff, but for the most part, soon I will start to be, liquidating, going into some cash, holding hard cash, trading that for gold or silver possibly. Two-hour beginning to go positive on Apple. Apple is showing some good stuff. For real, it's not looking like it wants to curl over. It still can, it's still negative, but that 2-hour confirms up, hey, it's a swing trade. You probably could get all the way up towards 225 with that 2-hour play. Then from here, you have that level, okay, boom, boom, boom. That's all you're looking for here. But 2-hour crosses up, that can be positivity. Right now, you're kind of seeing some of those signals. I would just really watch if these 30 minutes start to roll over. But you're not seeing that, so you're seeing positivity in the overall market. SPY going to touch that level again. Supporting the best channel on the net. I was looking at another live channel for years, but your channel is far and away much better and more technically sound. Hey, thank you, Short Fridays. I really do appreciate that. That's amazing. Thank you for that compliment. And thank you so much for the $10. Thank you for donating to the channel. I really do appreciate it. That makes me feel good. Makes me feel like what I'm doing is at least helpful to most people out there. And I think that's just the goal there. I know everyone has their own struggles with taking trades and maybe the wrong timing and things like that. If you can take a step back and really pay attention and just react, you can be better off, I think. You think Celsius is bottom? What is that? CLH? Celsius? Celsius does look like a bottoming signal on the 30-minute. Now I want to see, is that leaking over into the 2-hour? 2-hour, we do have some divergence across the way. A little bit flat, but slightly up. So if that 2-hour can really confirm here, you could start to see dailies turn up. All right, dailies start to turn up. What do you have there? You have a bunch of divergence down there on the MACD, not on the RSI at the same time. So you could see a bounce. I would just be a little bit skeptical of it. That could fade at the 20, that could fade at the 50. So if you do see that big reaction, the 50 is where I'd really be paying attention. But for the most part, you would want to say, first of all, I need this 30 minutes to remain positive. If I take a trade based on this right now, okay, that's awesome, that's great. But I have to say, if this 30-minute does curl down, then I need to manage the trade. I need to be like, okay, this might see further downside. My timing might just be a little off. It does not look good over time here. It really doesn't. It keeps curling over and going negative. You see the last point of all these divergences? Did that play out very well? Nope. It needs to be able to hold in positive territory. I think they want people to get calls. That's what it looks like to me. Oh, IRL. I've never even tried Celsius, by the way. Not once. Not one time. Maybe I'll go shooting today. Go practice a little bit for funsies. VIX also going down towards that 20 level, by the way. Crazy to see that. Just staring at that PCC, seeing if that changes, looking at Nvidia as well. All right, in about 6 minutes, we have about 30 minutes left to see if the SPY and the Qs are going to start confirming that 2-hour cross to the upside. So the next, by the end of the stream, we should know if things are looking better for stocks or if things are still looking a little bit shady. And then we still need to pay attention to the 30-minute curling down. Even though that 2 hours curling up, it can mean, hey, yeah, we can make a decision. Maybe we see some upside. But for the most part, we would still say, hey, I still need to manage the trade on a 30-minute. Do I need to try a Celsius? Is it any good? I just drink like water, coffee, and I like Dr. Pepper. And Dr. Pepper is my poison of choice. I guess also Code Red. Those are my poisons of choice. Dr. Pepper is great. Ew, Brian. Ew, I'm not gonna try one of those. You know what I used to drink? You guys know those Kickstarts? Have you guys ever had a Kickstart? I used to drink those when I was younger. Yeah, I used to drink Kickstarts. I haven't drank one in a long freaking time. She laughs and thinks it's funny. She's trying to get under your skin, Brian. Mine will do the same one day, I'm sure. I've heard of Black Rifle. I've never tried it, but I've heard of it plenty. It looks good. Someone message Black Rifle. Tell them to give us a discount code for some coffee. Kickstarts are good. Yeah, I liked Kickstarts a lot. I drank like one of those every 2 days. Apple approaching the center line still. God, it's so close to approaching that center line, but it's just not out of the woods fully yet. It is crossing up, but this is where that resistance could be. How's SMCI looking? Just like garbage. There's no real reversal signals in here. 30-minute curl up might be what you're looking for, but this is just not a good look for a stock. A lot can change in 24 hours, so we'll see what happens tomorrow when we get some initial jobless claims data. We'll see what happens with more price action throughout the day in the overall market to see if we're getting reversal signals in the market. That still can be enough for buyers to step in for SMCI if you see reversal signals on, say, Nvidia or something like that. But earnings was bad, so you'd expect more bad for now. That's what I would say. AMC now down 1.77, GME down 0.33. Both of them look like they kind of want to cross, but we're seeing some green here for GameStop. Mara actually did cross. Oh wait, it's about to cross down. So what we need to look for is Bitcoin as well, seeing if that 2 hour can cross down. If that starts to wake up, hey, this might have just been some kind of fake out. That's why we got to wait for that overall bar, like the full closing on Bitcoin. Nvidia, you had such a good reversal signal. Are you really going to give it up right now? Pretty good reversals for the 30-minute even. Double bottom divergence. That already played out though. So if we need more steam, we might have to dip down to find some buyers if we need them. As far as Disney goes, I think that didn't it have it? I can't remember, so let's not talk about it just yet. It has a 30-minute divergence, right? You would say, hey, there is potential for 30-minute divergences here between these two levels. So if that curls up, that can mean positivity. That can mean the 2 hour and up. That has not happened yet. So far, my getting out of Tesla was slightly intelligent. Nvidia down 1.1 or up 1.18, not fully closing down yet. We'll see. So yeah, you got a bunch of divergences on those on Disney, but you gotta manage your trades, right? We teach you how to manage. If you don't know how to manage your trade, if you're always experiencing times where you're like, oh, I'm in profit and then all of a sudden I lose everything in 2 days, well, managing the trade can help, and that is in the course down in the description. The $100 course will really help you with that. Thank you so much for saying that, Tina. I try to give you guys as much time as I can these days. Crazy market, so I want to be here talking about it. Nvidia not curling down just yet. We got about 29 minutes left to see what's going to happen with this bad boy. Stretch it out. Wow. So if that doesn't pull down, then most likely these SPY and the Qs do not pull down. But I'm just worried. This is a big move up in the beginning of the day. Dollar positive while the SPY is positive. Could mean there's a rug pull coming. It would suck if you like confirm the 2 hour and then unconfirm that immediately. If you confirm the 2 hour, hey, you're still more likely to make that lower high on the 30-minute if we do pull back to remain in those ranges. That would suck if it like confirms on the 2 hour and then unconfirms within the next 2 hour bar. I would not like that. Unless you make like the tiniest little divergence possible, but 30 minutes left. 29 minutes left. Less than 29 minutes left. Nothing is giving us a big hint though. But see how the yields go up and the stock market goes up? As we get more inverted now, we're starting to get slightly more inverted, so boom, and then the market goes up. As we uninvert, you notice the market came down. Ooh, Nvidia. Still a lot of time here for this 30-minute bar. Let's see what's being talked about in the world today. Let's see what's trending. SMCI is trending. APAC is trending, of course. Shopify is trending. Whoa, Shopify seeing a big move with that earnings. Diverges at the lows, but we don't want to read too much into this. This is just an earnings reaction, 50-50 flip there. Come on, SPY. Don't like this is the bad part about what this behavior is. We keep seeing them move up and then it just kind of sits there all day, and then in the last hour we'll either see a big move up or a big move down. That's why we're looking for a hit. Oh god, someone started a fire. Give me a sec. All right, we're back. We're back. Just the bacon up there caused it to go off. Well, for the most part in this environment, we've seen like a gap up. That was a fake out. We've seen this come down, then you get the fake out that we're going to go back up, then you gap down, you go sideways, then you cross. That was a fake out. We go down, now we start to head up. So we're seeing some fake outs left and right. That's why I'm just hesitant in this area. I'd really like a strong base. It seems like it's okay for now. We just have 25 minutes left. So unless something really, really bad happens in the next 25 minutes, I'm chilling. AMD seeing some good positivity there. Nvidia, we'll see if it can break out. Five-minute can go positive. That's starting to see some good stuff there. Yeah, let's jinx it. Nvidia looks fantastic. Oh my gosh, this thing's going to a new all-time high. Did it crash? I don't know. Tesla's rejecting. A lot of stuff kind of rejecting the downside. Apple's starting to break a little bit up to the upside again. Amazon breaking through. Coming up into an area where you could see a dip down. Nvidia is what we want to watch because it's very close to crossing. AMD looks all right. Meta, that thing looks like it needs to pull back a little bit, but we'll see, right? It hasn't happened yet. Microsoft, and these things could just pull back with time, right? They could just move a little bit like this and then start to head up. But AMC now curling over, so AMC telling you, hey, this is not the moment anymore. How do I feel about the QQQ and SPY? I'm still wondering if this is going to be a trap, but most likely we would see some weakness on this 30-minute bar if it is going to be a trap. I'm just hoping nothing like this happens where it confirms up on a 2-hour and then just gives it away the next moment. So even though this is great stuff, you're going into an area where something unexpected can happen. I still want to be aware if this 30-minute crosses down at any time, because if we do see this push up and then curl back down, that would make total sense. So I'll still pay attention to that. But for the most part, this is pretty good price action. You're just within the flagging. That's my only problem with it. Sorry, she might cause me to get kicked off a little bit early here, guys. We got some smoke upstairs, so I might have to hop off a little bit early. I'm gonna try to stay for like 5-10 more minutes if I can. Everything's good up there, but $535 and then rejected. I would say you'd more so want 533 area. People adding some puts on just a little bit. See what happens, but this is like this market is like boring sometimes, and why I take a break. Like at 10:30 till like 1 till like till like 1 or 2 hours before the close. So I take that break because a lot of time you'll see a big move, then if nothing happens during retail hours, it just fades out, fizzles out throughout the day, and then you'll see the next move up or down by the close. Now, what would be interesting is if, hey, we curl up for a 2-hour bar, we curl up for another 2-hour bar, we curl up for another 2-hour bar, and then that all goes boop like that. We see a little, maybe a rejection divergence would be nice. But that would mean that this needs to pull down. So if that 30-minute doesn't pull down, then I'm not even thinking about that just yet. Oh, this guy here, I mean, as far as it holding, I mean, this is just, there's no price action to tell me what's going on. I could look in the tiny time frames, but those things can be wild. Those things can really do anything. If you're looking at a 1 minute, yeah, it behaves like a monthly chart even, like a weekly chart even, but you're going to see crazier things because you're seeing more bars, more price action, more bars in a smaller time frame. So you can see crazier stuff. I would more so think that this is going to pull back at some point. We just got to see, is that just going to go sideways, pull back with time, get close to that center line, then I can make a decision like here. This was a great time. Okay, awesome. You got lucky with the earnings if you took calls there because this easily could have just went like that. So there's no technicals here whatsoever that you can really read into unless you're looking at the really short time frames, like a 5 minute, probably by the center line, right? That curls up, positivity keeps coming down. All right. Scaling into some TLT. I'm just gonna keep my eye on Nvidia over here on my right. Still up 1.47, nothing crazy. No, I haven't looked at Upstart yet, but someone did mention that in the chat, I think a second ago. Good upside there. Never confirmed down, but once again, it's another earnings play, guys. So there's not much to say about earnings plays besides, hey, I'm not going to chase at these levels, even if it's a good move, unless it's giving me a daily swing signals, right? It is, but for the most part, that's already overbought. Do I want to chase this? No. So the 30-minute, I'm going to look for that. If that wants to back off and curl back up, then I know the positive trend is continuing. Jay, I'm hoping for you, my dude. Trust me. I'm hoping it, and I wish I could, I seriously do. I wish I could be like, oh, okay, yeah, this is showing a reversal signal to the upside and that thing's gonna have a good probability to come down. Trust me, I wish I could say that, but I have to tell it how it is. And I'm not necessarily seeing anything reversal-wise there. I'm seeing a good move with earnings, okay. Now we'll see if that has continued upside by curling down on the 30-minute and maybe collecting some buyers to head back up. This upside was the most, right, it's very positive, so I have to talk positively about it. Now, if things start to reverse here, you might have some luck on your hands, right? If things start to go like boop, right, and that thing follows the market, well, then we can see more and more and more downside if these things would just cross over on these MACDs, but they're not yet. We're just at a daily expected move, so we still have a 68% chance to see that resistance come in and end by here later today. Nvidia still up 1.51 even with this little bit of red coming in. GameStop did not cross. AMC did for now. GameStop did not. Interesting. What does that mean for IWM? Still negative. Still very flaggy. And that's it too for the SPY, still very flaggy. Now, once you start to get rid of that flag, that's when you can see some crazier stuff. A lot of my puts go out Friday. I just at least want to try to get half my money back. 350 puts. Reasonable. Try not to go into the mentality of making money back. Try to always go into the trade with the mentality of, I'm going to make a good trade here. Is this a good trade here? Because if you keep trying to make your money back, sometimes you scale into positions that aren't necessarily showing you the signals. You want to say, oh, okay, this has divergence. Awesome, I'm gonna get into that. Oh, I see another point of divergence. Okay, that's a scale in play. But if this would say do this, I don't necessarily just wanna be shorting again somewhere just because I wanna make that position better. You might be better off looking at other money and using other money to make that money back with just good trades. Always just think good trade, good trade, good trade. So I got the good vibes for you, Jay, I really do. And J777, if you decide to do Robinhoods, I'll have some good vibes for you too. Anyone trying to play earnings, I have good vibes for you. I just play earnings for fun. That's what I do. It's only for fun most of the time. Unless it's Apple with a triple divergence on the daily before earnings, then I'll take it seriously. But if it has the golden setup that I give out in the course down in the description, 90% off. $100 right now to literally learn how to do all of this. $90, you'll understand the live videos so much more. If you just go into the description, click on that $100 course down there, it will help you out. But for the most part, just unless I see perfect signals for a trade before an earnings, I'm not doing much. I'm at least downsizing a position if I feel like, hey, there is potentially some good signals. I'm going to manage my risk by downsizing the position. How I feel about Robinhoods? Well, Robinhood's seen some major downside, right? So if you look over here, we looked at this a little bit ago, but this one here, we're seeing dramatic downside, the 30 minutes by the center line. So right now, before the earnings, you're just seeing the 30-minute tell you, look how this is a 50-50 flip. If this crosses down, bad, but if that goes positive, good. That's literally 50-50 right before the 50-50 earnings. Okay, now if we look on the daily scale, that's been beat up for a while. It's reacting down to the 200. If that starts to give the swing trade signal, okay then, we can see some upside. But originally we did see the divergence here. That led to the downside. There's one thing I need to do here, because we are still in a bullish overall trend. Yeah, okay, so we could get rejection off the 5, right? The 5-day moving average. A lot of the time in these drops, when you do tests like go outside of bottom Bollinger, you actually do react up to the 5, and then you see from there what happens. So if we're going to get continued downside, this is where it would happen. All right, this is exactly where you would want to test. So paying attention to the 30-minute makes total sense. Now we're starting to see some downside here. We'll pay attention. Nvidia now down. Ooh, Nvidia down 0.85. Has to be down enough to really curl down that 2-hour. I really wouldn't like to see 2 hours crossing. Let's see what you do, Nvidia. Do you cross over right now? Still, all the moving averages are so grouped up here. Oh, you're still in a bullish trend on the macro scale, right? If you look at even a daily, you would say, well, some dailies you would say are going negative. But if you just think about it from are we at a level that really has taken out an extreme area? No, we haven't taken this out, right? You have to take out this big chunk to really convince me that we're going to see some kind of crash. For now, if this is behaving like a bear market, okay, we can see bear market behavior, start seeing earnings drop-offs and things like that with Nvidia, then we can be convinced that this might be a bear market. But going down like this, hey, you curl up on this MACD, you cross up above these moving averages, that's a good sign. And then if you break through this trend, you might go to an all-time high. So that's why we're really paying attention. But looking at the 30-minute, we just have to see if things start to cross over. Nvidia seeing a little bit of weakness here, kind of looking like maybe a shorter-term flag on like a 5-minute. But SPY, really want to pay attention to that. Really want to see if this 2 hour is able to cross up. You see the 2 hour, it's crossed up right now. So if we want to see some more downside, most likely you don't want this to cross. You don't want that confusion. You don't want that confirmation of more upside. You would more likely want to see weakness from the 30-minute here, like right now, and then see that thing drop off. So I think everything's chill upstairs. So I'll chill on here for another 10 minutes or so. I saw that heart. I saw a bunch of hearts going up. I saw you guys liking the video, so I'm like, okay, I'll stay on a little longer. Why the complete flip from yesterday's after hours? Yeah, I don't know why that happened with SMCI, but I know that the earnings had a red thing, right? Had a red E. That's all I really looked at. RR similar to serve. I mean, you have a 30-minute crossing up saying some kind of bounces here. That's about it. That is about it for serve. Because the 2 hour is still down. That's some dramatic downside. The signals here aren't very good. Yeah, no real reversal signals in sight. Wish I could talk differently about it. Really wish I could, but I'm just not seeing too many reversal signals there. 11 minutes left in this 30-minute bar. Are you going to matter? Free Indeed is number one. Rivian, I do like these ones. Rivian's a company I saw a lot of their trucks when I lived in Georgia. Rivian actually has the 30-minute divergence as well. So that's telling you, hey, 30-minute divergence at these lows, very significant. That could mean you have a pop from the 2 hour coming. If that 2 hour can really start to rotate back up, kind of reject, well, that'd be a pretty good sign for a swing trade, wouldn't it? Even for a swing trade, that'd be pretty good if you can get up to this level. But for now, that 30-minute, you want to see if that can really confirm up. This could still have more work in it, so you want to take your time. Volatility is still high. It's above 20. So if that curls up, you can still see a pretty good move. I lived right outside Atlanta, like Buford. Yeah, that's why I don't really pay too much attention to after hours. You can read into it. There's ways to read into it, but I more so just pay attention to what the SPX and what the US 100 are doing. I don't necessarily pay attention to other things. I just want to see where do they want the overall stock market to be? What do they want it to do? And for now, they've just trickled it up higher, which kind of makes me think, okay, if enough people buy calls here, we actually could see a downturn. Oh, nice. I've been living here for. Oh yeah, I looked at houses there, Dave. No, I don't think I know who that is. CNK. Cinemark. I hate this stock. You guys know why. No. Cinemark, this thing is going to go up and up and up to most likely convince people that AMC is a bad company. This is mostly institution owned. I think like 70% of it is institution and 20% of it is insiders. So barely any of it is owned by retail, and that's why it always goes up on good news. And AMC never goes up on good news. It always ends up down after good news. So this one here, though, you see the 30-minute, you do have divergence there. See if that's able to see how it's going sideways. We want to see if that can cross up, because that could mean we're going to go up a little bit higher. For now, this is a sign that the 30-minute could have more work to pull back. And then if we go into the higher time frames, let's just try to look at everything here. We're just noticing what's happening. Well, from this area right here, from July 26, let's go even further back. Let's go even further back, all the way back here to June. Well, when all this AMC stuff started to really happen, starting way back then, but going into May and June, what's happened to this since then? It's gone up like this. So I think that this is overall just a bait. I do not think that this is a good time for a Cinemark investment. I think that's my opinion. I do not invest at levels that are like this. If you're very overbought, you have flat divergences across the way. You have flat divergences across the way for even the MACD, a little bit up there actually. So not really on the MACD at the same time. That could mean this could experience a pullback, right? I want to just be patient as a trader and look for when this curls up on the MACD for the swing. Boom, swing, right? And so this would not necessarily be that. That's the opposite of that signal. So the opposite of that signal would be crossing down. That means what could we experience? A pullback. Now that could just pull back with time like we did last time. Look at this. We could just do that one more time like this and then curl up. See that positivity start to come back in. Solid little earnings there, seems like. Yeah, seems like a solid earnings there though. Yeah, by no means like hating on the stock, but this is just what I would say as far as any stock that looks like this on the daily scale. I'm always going to say I'm not chasing this. I'm seeing flat divergences on the RSI. That could mean most likely a pullback, not necessarily a collapse, but a pullback can come just like over here. Something like this can happen, and then if you curl up, we could see more positivity. So being patient is usually pretty good. Monthly was showing potential. Let's look at the monthly then. Monthly is showing potential, and the good part about Cinemark, it actually gave you a great signal at lower levels. It gave you a great signal in here. This crossing up of the MACD on this bar right here around 1450, and then you get that weekly consolidation, and then you curl back up. So in here, you're going to see a weekly curl down and curl back up. That's kind of what you're looking for on the daily. But if we just go out to a weekly here, what do you notice in this area? Well, we see a divergence up here that leads to downside, then we curl up, and then positive things happen. Then we curl down, then we curl right back up, positive things happen. So I'm kind of looking for that type of behavior on the daily scale, right? It's always easy to go back and look into the past, right? But we want to be able to learn how to react in real time to what we're seeing. So what do we see here? Daily pulls back with time, boom, crosses to the upside. Daily pulls back to the center line, boom, crosses into positive territory above the 200. These are just swing trades, right? These are all just swing trades, and they're all very simple here. So if this does curl down in any way and curls back up, hey, simple swing trade. Try to keep it easy and simple. Make sure to manage your trades, but for the most part, these just seem like simple swing trades to me. Uh-oh. What's happening in the last 5 minutes here? Nvidia starting to reject. Again, not anything crazier than what we've seen in the last hour or so. SPY not rejecting hard enough to unconfirm that 2 hour probably. Yeah, not unconfirming. It needs to really drop off here to see that. You're kind of more still consolidating. And now if you just look at these bars, you're getting tight. Like if we go into a 5 minute, right, you're seeing, ooh, now we're starting to compile up. We got to see, are we going to break to the downside, break to the upside? All depends today. At this point, at this level, at the weekly or at the daily expected move, it kind of depends on what does the market maker want to do for the rest of the day. Yeah, Cass, I hope that was helpful. Just trying to, you know, when the monthly signal is like, oh, it's screaming higher, it's like, okay, maybe that wasn't the time. You more so want to react when still no one, like a few people believe in it and you're hearing about it early. Once everyone's talking about it, once you go to your hairdresser and they're talking about it with you while cutting your hair, that's when you more so want to be like, ooh, maybe I should sell that stock, right? You want to just pay attention to the signals earlier. Just a little bit earlier. And now that you know that, you know, I can be a little bit patient here. If I really like the stock, if I can sit on the sidelines for a few weeks, maybe that does dip down on the daily scale and then turn back up. If it just keeps going up, hey, you're still being a smart trader. You're being diligent. You're not chasing or anything like that. That is a bad habit to get into your system. Even if it causes you to win one trade, you have to think to yourself, ooh, that was risky. That was not what I was supposed to do. Right, that is not being a smart trader at that point. You need reasons to take a trade, not just, ooh, the stock is green, let me buy this, right? You need those reasons that will really help you out. So make good decisions early, especially like if you're someone who's starting out or something like that. Try to make the best decisions possible. Really slow things down. Make good decisions. And then if things aren't working out, make a good decision on managing your trade. And then that will build up into how you are as a trader. It will really cause you to have good habits. Good habits are a key thing. Discipline is a key thing with trading. Let's look at the Dow as well. Still looks pretty good for the Dow. Volatility, slight blip up, but nothing to worry about too much. And it looks like we got a minute and a half, so you are going to confirm some kind of upside for the SPY. I wonder if the Qs were able to confirm that. Qs are able to confirm it as well. So as of right now, we always want to go with the higher time frame. The 2 hour is saying we're most likely to see a bounce. So if we do see a dip down here on the 30-minute and that doesn't cross back over this 2 hour chart, then this could just be some kind of 30-minute pullback. It is potential, though, that 2 hour just takes over and we see something crazy. So what you need to pay attention to today, really look at what's happening here, see if we get some break out of this controlled area, and then make sure nothing at any time today is rolling over on this 30-minute. This is, I'm just going to draw it a million times. This is the main thing to watch today, right here. If that confirms down, you start to close below all the moving averages, it can mean potential downside. Just means to me maybe they need more calls in this area if they want to rip it down, but if not, then they have enough puts in it to just squeeze. So kind of a up or down kind of day at this area. Like here, if this would have continued, this would have been fantastic, by the way. This is more what you wanted to see from this bar right here. You want to see this come down, go to that daily expected move, then turn right back around when everyone's bearish, and boom, you see the triple bottom, and you see that head to the upside, and you would have got this to curl over right here and curl right back up, and that would have been a fantastic trade. That did not set up for us, so we have to be a little bit patient, pay attention to the signals a little bit closer, and see what's going on throughout the rest of the day. So as that does close, the 2 hours have confirmed up on both the Qs and the SPY, so I would more so look for that 2 hour to bounce, while paying attention to the 30-minute can roll over into negative territory, and maybe that's a fake out. So we'll pay attention to that. I'm going to come back for the live stream at the end of the day, so please make sure you subscribe with those notifications on so you can join us for the last hour of the day. Come right back here. If you don't see it on your main feed, go to my channel. Just type in Money Making Market, go look at your subscription, do all that good stuff, and we will have a closing stream at the end of today. So I really appreciate you guys being here. Thank you guys for being here. It means a lot. Thank you for the donations. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. You guys are fantastic. I wish you nothing but luck for your trades for the rest of the day. I'll keep an eye on the market. If I see something crazy, I'll hop on a little earlier, but expect me back later today towards the last hour, towards the close. All right. Thank you guys for watching. Really appreciate it. I'll leave the SPY on for a little bit so you guys can hang out and chat about stocks if you'd like. All right. I'll see you guys later.